Hello everyone, this is Othman Altraih from the English Language Institute. Uh, Today we are going to have our first recorded lecture, which is addressed to our students taking the course English Composition 2, 118 for semester 402. First of all, I do apologize for having this recording a bit late due to the technical problems that happened last week, due to the current situation that you are all aware of. So, in order to avoid having heavy load on our server, we are going to have this lecture as brief as possible, and this video inshallah is going to be very short. Therefore, I would like you to concentrate on the key points, and let's start right away. This lecture is going to concentrate on the key issues in Unit 1.8 according to the textbook academic writing that you are using this semester. So the unit is going to be on organizing paragraphs. The key points that we're going to discuss in this unit include the components of paragraphs, the way the components are linked together, and the linkage between paragraphs in the overall text. Now, to start with, let me just recap what you have already learned about paragraphs in the previous orientation year courses, and even in 117 course, which was a prerequisite for the course you are doing right now. And in these courses, I am quite sure that you have come across some stuff concerning paragraphs. I mean, in the writing components of these courses. You have already got some idea about paragraphs, and because of that, we are not going to talk about some details that you already know. But to start with, let me just refresh your memories about the definition of paragraphs. So what do you think a paragraph is? Definitely, maybe most of you, if not all of you, would say that a paragraph is a group of sentences. And when you just say a group of sentences alone, this is an inadequate definition, because it's not just a matter of having sentences together. No, these sentences should be directly related to each other in such a logical way so that they convey one main or one single idea through this paragraph. And if this paragraph is used as part of an essay, whether it's a short essay or a long essay, then we have to think about how paragraphs themselves could be linked to each other. Therefore, when it comes to the definition of your paragraph, at least you have to ask yourself, how can these sentences be related to each other? I mean, how can we make them as one unit? And how can we achieve this unity in order to let the ideas given in the paragraph read smoothly and in a logical way? So, in order to talk about all the things in detail, let's just have a look at the key features of paragraph structure, and we're going to discuss them briefly due to the time, as I have told you. If you look at any paragraph, generally, at least it should include some of these features, if not all of them. So, as I have told you at the beginning, the first thing you have to consider is that a paragraph is a group of sentences which deal with one single topic. And of course, this is very important because each paragraph should incorporate one idea. Because if you have a text which is written without being divided up into paragraphs, then that would make it a bit difficult to understand. But once you divide up your text into paragraphs, then this can help both the writer and the reader to follow the argument given there. So it's very important to have unity within the paragraph itself, and that there should be one main idea in this paragraph which could be linked with another paragraph which include another idea. The second thing that we need to consider about paragraphs is the length of paragraphs. If someone asks you how long should a paragraph be, actually there is no specific answer for saying it should include 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or more sentences. But generally, we could say that a paragraph should include at least no less than 4 or 5 sentences. And this is simply because in your paragraph, as you have learned earlier, you need to have a topic sentence at the beginning, and you need to have a conclusion, and in between the two you need some sentences which support the ideas or the idea given in the topic sentences. This could be 2, 3, 4. Then at least if you have 2 supporting statements plus the topic sentence and the conclusion, then this makes it 4. But definitely it could be 4 or more than that. The third point is that it's usually, but not always, that the first sentence introduces a topic and the other sentences may give definitions, examples, or extra information, reasons, restatements, or summaries. You see, and we're going to talk about this in detail through the example. We're going to have a look at it here. The last feature or characteristic of a paragraph is that the parts of the paragraph should be linked together. I mean, these sentences the sentences in the paragraph should be linked together by cohesive divides, which we call them linking words, such as references words, conjunctions, adverbs, and so on. And we're going to talk about this through the example we're going to see here. So generally, these are the 4 key features that you need to consider whenever you want to deal with a paragraph which is used as part of your short or long essays. Then of course, once you consider all these features, you have to think about how you can link or move from one paragraph to another one in such a smooth way so that these things could reflect your overall flow of thoughts without having problems. Here we have a sample of a paragraph. I'd like you to look at it carefully, and let's try to see how can we analyze these paragraphs here. Before we start analyzing the paragraph, I just want you to have a look at these 2 questions here. The first question is, what is the topic of this paragraph? What is the topic of the paragraph? And how are the sentences in the paragraph linked together? I mean, once you answered these 2 questions, then this could help you to analyze the paragraph carefully and understand the flow of thought without having any difficulty. So because of time, we're going to start right away. Definitely the topic sentence is the one which is always, but not necessarily a must, that is found at the beginning of your paragraph. So this is a topic sentence here. Spanish is one of the world's leading languages. Now this is a topic sentence simply because it includes a topic here and a controlling idea, and usually the controlling idea is the part of the sentence which comes after the verb or the auxiliary, which is given immediately after the subject here. So this is a very important sentence in any paragraph. I mean, the topic sentence. Now the other sentences which follow should support these topic sentences through what we call them cohesive divides. And if you concentrate, you will find that these sentences are in a way or another related to each other. So for example, if you read the second sentence here, it is spoken over by blah 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 until the end of the sentence here. You know immediately that this sentence relates to the previous one because of the pronoun it here. It here refers to Spanish. That means Spanish is spoken by over 500 million blah blah blah. We use it simply to avoid the repetition of the noun given here. So we know that this sentence in a way or another is directly relevant to the previous one. Now when you read the third sentence, this is a result of the growth of Spanish colonies until the end of the sentence here. You will find that this sentence here is trying to give you a reason, because here the function word this here refers to the situation which is mentioned in the previous sentence. I mean, why there are more than 500 million speakers of Spanish. I mean, not only in Spain, but in Central and South America. So this is a result of the growth of Spanish colonies in the Central and South America from the 16th century. This one gives you an answer. Therefore, you find that this sentence, in a way or another, is directly related to the previous one. Uh, the fourth sentence, which starts with increasingly, this adverb, Spanish is also widely used in America until the end of the sentence here. So, if you concentrate, you will also find that this sentence adds some extra information to the reason why Spanish is spoken by 500 million people. And what tells us that this is an addition is the adverb increasingly plus the word also. If you look at the last sentence here, Spanish is a Romance language which evolved from Latin, but which also contains many words from Arabic due to the historical Moorish presence in the Iberian Peninsula. And this one also gives you more information about, or extra information about the reason why it's spoken there, simply because of additional word also here. So if you try to analyze the paragraph, you could divide it into 5 main parts. The first part is the one which includes the topic sentence, this one. The second sentence includes supporting information. The third one includes the reason. The fourth one, extra information. And the fifth sentence, extra information too. Now, here, if you look at the highlighted areas, parts here, this, increasingly, also, and so on, you'll find these are the cohesive divides, or the words that can be used to link each sentence to its previous one. But generally, this is not the case in all paragraphs. I mean, it depends on what type of paragraph, because you may have a descriptive paragraph, or a paragraph that is describing a process, or the paragraph could be narrative, and so on. So it depends on, I mean, the use of linking words between sentences depends on what type of paragraph. Yes, this is an example of linking words for a paragraph, but of course this is not the case with all paragraphs. In order to clarify this, let's have a look at 2 examples of topic sentences. Imagine that there is a paragraph which starts with this topic sentence: desalination process takes place in the following sequential steps, or sequential order. If there is a paragraph, and this paragraph starts with this one, the first thing here you have to consider is the 2 important parts in this topic sentence, which is the topic and the controlling idea. Here, of course, the topic is desalination, or desalination process. We said that the topic usually comes before the verb or the auxiliary in the topic sentence, and the part that comes after this one here takes place in the following sequential steps or order, includes the controlling idea. Therefore, when you try to read this topic sentence carefully, you will find out that, and before we talk about this, let me explain exactly what do we mean by desalination. Of course, if you try to analyze the word desalination, you could first of all try to remove the affixes. The first one is D, which means to remove, and the affix, the suffix which comes at the end here, ation. Then you will have saline. Saline is an adjective which means something to do with salt. So desaline means removing salt, and desalination is the process of changing seawater into fresh, potable, or drinkable water. So this process takes place in the following way. From the topic sentence, you understand that we are going to describe a process, and when you want to describe a process, of course, you may write sentences which show sequence. I mean, you have to mention the first step by saying first blah 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 blah, then blah 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 after that, and so on until you come to the last step by saying finally. So words like first, next, then, finally, and so on, These are cohesive divides which can link sentences with each other, and you can use them instead of those highlighted in the previous example we have mentioned here. Coming to, or taking another example for a topic sentence of a paragraph, this one for example, women driving has recently been a controversial issue in Saudi Arabia. This is a topic sentence which includes a topic plus a controlling idea, has been a controversial issue, and through the correlation between the two parts of this topic sentence, you will find that the following sentences, which are going to support the idea here, should show some kind of contrast, because in the controlling idea we use the word controversial, which means there is something which is debatable or something argumentative. Some people have one idea, other people have a different idea. So when you read the controlling idea, you expect that the following sentences which support this one here should be sentences either arguing for women driving or arguing against it. I mean, some people will support the idea of women driving and other people would argue against it, and therefore you expect that the sentences which are used in the paragraph may include contrasting words like but, however, on the other hand, and so on. And these are the cohesive divides that you can use to link the sentences together, I mean in between the sentences together, or when you want to move from one paragraph to another paragraph. So the topic is straightforward, and I don't think that it needs much more time to talk about. You can understand more by trying to do the activities or practice we are going to have at the end of our lecture here. So to come to our end of this short lecture here, I'd like you to do these activities here. We have two activities. This is the first activity, which says the parts of the text below have been mixed up. Put them in order to have a cohesive paragraph. So you have the paragraphs here. I'm sorry, the sentences in the paragraph, but they are not in, they are mixed up. They are written randomly. I'd like you to rearrange them so that you could have a cohesive device. And the same thing about activity 2. You see, in activity 2 also you have a mix up sentences. I would like you to rearrange them so that they look in a logical way. The answers to this first of all, you have to do these activities alone by just jotting down or writing down the answers to your to the task. Then you could check your answers here. Of course, you have this you will have this text in your Blackboard account, and you will find out that each of the paragraphs have been linked together in such a logical way through the cohesive divides that we have mentioned here. And of course, you can also have other activities in your textbook, and once you finish doing that, you could check your answers at the end of your textbook. If you have any more questions or any queries, you could contact me through my email or the WhatsApp group that we have formed, or you could participate in the Incorporate Ultra session that we're going to have next week. Until then, I wish you all the best. Thank you.